Shifting from ancient spiritualist accounts to modern science. So, what's happening in the brain during these inner states? One key player is the theta brainwaves. Brainwaves are the electrical rhythms of the brain, measurable by EEG. When we are wide awake and alert, we are mostly in beta frequency, fast, busy brain activity. But as we relax or enter meditation, and especially as we approach sleep, the brain's dominant rhythm slows down. Theta waves, which oscillate about 4 to 8 times per second, start to take over. Theta is particularly interesting here because it's literally the brainwave of the liminal state. Neuroscientists classify theta as rhythm of the state between wakefulness and sleep, closely linked to the subconscious mind. In adults, lots of theta during normal waking is unusual, might indicate drowsiness or distraction. But in children, theta activity is perfectly normal and prominent. Ever notice how kids slip into pretend worlds so easily? Theta shows up strongly during dreamly, internal focused states. For instance, during meditation, prayer, or intense creativity, the brain often produces more theta waves. It's also abundant during REM sleep, the dream stage, and light sleep. Essentially, theta marks that we've turned inward. The brain is less focused on the external environment and more tuned into emotions, memories, and imagery. Research has found that theta-rich states correlate with some remarkable effects. Theta is associated with creativity, intuition, daydreaming, and fantasizing. It's as if when the brain shifts into theta, our thought processes become less linear and more fluidly imaginative. And this makes sense. Remember that hypnagogic state when falling asleep, which overflows with random images and creative ideas? That's the theta dominant state. In theta, the brain also accesses buried memories and feelings more easily. In fact, the limbic system, the emotional brain, including the hippocampus and oblongata, is thought to be involved in generating theta rhythms. Little wonder that theta is linked to abstract imagery and symbolic thinking. It's literally tapping into the emotional and memory centers and expressing that actively in a free-flowing, non-rational way. Subjectively, being in a theta state often feels dreamlike, intuitive, and in the zone. People may experience vivid image pictures, creative flashes, or even a sense of oneness with their thoughts. Ever have that highway hypnosis where you're driving on autopilot and your mind is elsewhere visualizing scenarios, like we mentioned earlier, and said please don't do? That is a mild theta state. Not great for driving, but it shows how theta brings imagery. Elite athletes, master musicians, and chess grandmasters have been found to produce bursts of theta when they're performing at their peak. It's associated with that deep flow state of total focus and immersion. Likewise, advanced meditators show strong theta activity during deep meditation. It appears that theta bridges the conscious and the subconscious. One neuroscience article poetically called theta waves the bridge between your conscious and subconscious minds. So what does this mean for visions? It implies that when you are in your half-awake liminal zone or meditative state, your brain is literally in a different gear, theta, which primes you for inner sight. In theta, you're more likely to get mental images, creative associations, or spiritual sensations that aren't accessible in normal waking beta life. Even a light meditation that increases theta can let subconscious ideas bubble up as vivid symbols. So it's no wonder that hypnagogic state is so fertile for problem solving and creative ideas. The brain in theta connects distant dots and isn't constrained by logic. From a spiritual angle, one could say that theta is the brain rhythm that opens the door to visions, trance, and mystical experiences. It's when the analytical mind quiets down and the intuitive, image-driven mind takes the stage. To put it more simply, theta is the rhythm of inner stillness and vision. It's not an accident that prayer, meditation, dreaming, and creative flow, despite being very different activities, share a common neurological signature in theta waves. So the next time you feel yourself entering drowsy, imaginative haze during prayer or just before sleep, or at your desk, remember, your brain is likely humming in theta, and you're biologically stepping into a state where inner imagery can thrive.